What is going on with the media? I talk about social media in your situation, but the media as well. Let's start with social media. What's up?
Well, we said the Transition Integrity Project, warned us they were going to do this, that the social media oligarchs out in Silicon Valley were going to use this to suppress the voices of President Trump's supporters. I mean, this has been the entire time for the last couple of years, what they've done to take away the fire and the heat that we were able to deliver in 16. But right now, what they're doing is shutting down anything that stands in opposition or anybody wants to point out the fact that the Democrats in the Democratic Party and their allies are trying to steal this election, the victory from President Trump. So they're just out there, crushing people, taking people down off Instagram, shutting down Twitter accounts, they're putting labels on the President of the United States every time he tweets something out. So this is a big problem. It's got to be addressed, I think, after we close on this victory. But we've warned the White House, warned the president, talked about this for a long time. These people are not the friends of the deplorables. They're not the friends of the Trump movement, and they're not friends to the President of the United
States. Is Fox moving away from President Trump?
Look, whatever the business strategy of the Murdochs is, their business strategy, they're obviously, I think, see a huge opportunity with becoming much more moderate and really putting them, presenting the news in a framework where conservatives can get their hands around it. But that's a business decision. I think what's disturbing is that it's not that you're pushing back on Rudy. All this should be pushed back and pushed back hard. I don't think people have any problem with that. It's kind of like Neil Cavuto. It was the snarky way they cut away from it and didn't even want to address it. Those lawsuits had a lot of merit. They've got a lot of affidavits signed with them. We're going to have more. It should have been discussed, and just the snarky way it was cut away from, I don't think really is up to Fox's standards, and particularly the audience standards. I mean, look at Fox's numbers are dropping through the floor.
Steve, let's talk about some of the election now, some of the things that are going on. We've seen the shenanigans happening. We've seen the videotapes of all the stuff, which may or may not be real. We don't really know. What do you know as far as talking to the Giuliani camp and some of the people in the White House? What do you know going forward? What are they going to bring forward to try and change what the AP has already called an election for Joe Biden?
Remember, the Associated Press and media don't really have any standing with this. Is a legal process, and it's about certification of the vote by the Secretary of States and these governors. The number your audience should think about is December 6th and 8th. That between those dates, these votes have to be certified at the state level, and then electors have to be chosen, sent to the state capitals for the Electoral College's first meeting on the 14th of December. If that's not met, if the safe harbor is not met on December 8th, if there's enough certified states certify to get to 270 electoral votes, this whole thing gets kicked to the House of Representatives, where you vote not by individual member, but by state party delegation. Right now, the Republicans control, I think, 28 states, the Democrats 22. So President Trump, they will select the president. President Trump would win in Nancy Pelosi's House on the Congress that's seated on January 3rd. I think it's going to be very difficult. And I think you're just starting to see now these lawsuits come in that are talking about big hunks of ballots that have to be thrown out because of certain election things about the observers. I think even more importantly, you're seeing tons of statistical analysis done and looking at the free flow of that information on election night, that there's just some huge anomalies here. And I think in discovery, that's going to come up. I've been saying this for a while. I think some of these states are not going to be able to certify the votes. I don't think that state general assemblies are going to certify the votes to put electors up. I believe this is going to kick, as it looks right now, I think this is going to get kicked into the House of Representatives, where Donald J. Trump will be elected president of the United States.
I just add this only because I want to be balanced and unbiased here. If it does go to the House of Representatives, and there are 26 or 28 states that are controlled by Republicans, assuming they would go against their state voting totals. That's what it would take. It would take a couple states to say, you know what, I didn't trust it, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. Steve, talk to us about the...
Well, but this is also about the certification of the vote. I think the justification would be, and the rationale would be, is that the states could not certify the votes. I think in Pennsylvania, Michigan, there's a terrific lawsuit at the state level and at the federal level. You're going to see a lot more of these coming out. So I think this is all about the ability to actually, what of these mail-in ballots are actually verifiable, have chain of custody, and can be certified.
Mm-hmm. Agree down the line. The Dominion voting machines. This seems to be a big issue. We've had Sidney Powell on, who claims that she knows for a fact that there's a backdoor into the Dominion voting machines, and that it may be able to be not only hacked but alter the outcome of already cast ballots. Do you know anything? What do you know?
Well, here's what I do know is the state of Texas has a report out where they rejected on every level the Dominion system. And they did that, I think, 9 months ago. This Dominion system, as we talk to technology people, there are many questions about this, about the software, the interoperability, and about this backdoor having access to it. So I think you're going to start to see, now you've got to be able to prove all that. It just can't be, some sort of thing you're putting together. But I think Sidney Powell and other team of lawyers and technology people are working that right now. That's why I think you're going to see many more lawsuits coming up about the way this was held, what systems they used, and about the anomalies in these numbers. And so I think even the more intense lawsuits and the parties those lawsuits are going to be in the next couple of days.
All right, just about a minute and a half or so, Steve, I have left for you. The Trump Accountability Project, who they're basically taking names, making a list. Anyone who worked for Trump doesn't deserve to get a paycheck in D.C. anymore. Your thoughts? I'm assuming you're on that list.
Yeah, no, but listen, I think this is the way they want to play. They're trying to put fear around the presidents, around the people around the president. It's definitely having an impact. I think you see that there are certain people that are just afraid, even though they think that this is a very, that we owe it to the country, we owe it to the Constitution, we owe it to this republic to make sure this is a free and fair election. I think some people are getting scared off, and so the left knows that this is a weapon. That's why I think people like Eric, like you and me and others, they just say, hey, look, we got to do what's right. We're gonna triple down here. We're not going to back off. I mean, the people that work at the war room, people associated with me, don't care. We're going to go all the way forward on this. It's bigger than President Trump. This is about the country. This is about a republic, and this is about democracy. And so we're in for the fight. And you can see it's happening right now. I think you see on many fronts with the recounts going on in Georgia, the closest in Arizona, these lawsuits. I think it's game on.
And I'll just leave it as cancel culture wins, Steve, if corporate boardrooms cave. And that's what's been going on. You just need the corporate boardroom to say enough is enough. This is getting out of hand, and stop changing what you do for a living just because someone complains about it. Final thought?
Yeah, I don't think the corporate boardrooms, I think the corporate boardrooms are the center of wokeness. I think what you have to do here, Eric, is close on this victory. President Trump and his supporters won an incredible victory on November 3rd on legitimate, real votes, legal votes. We have to close on that victory. We cannot back off. If we back off, corporate America is only going to feel, the wokeness is only going to feel more empowered.
All right, Steve Bannon in the War Room. Appreciate your time as always, my friend.